Hey there everyone, it's just Jay checking back in with you. I think the last time we talked was July 11th and today is Thursday, September 12th, 2013. So it's been basically 2 months since we last talked. And so I want to catch you up to date on what's been going on. First of all, this week I just passed my 1-year anniversary from when I started this whole process. This past Monday was 1 year since I had my colon removed. And I remember talking with my family and partner and friends and everything last year leading up to my surgery, thinking, oh, I can't wait till, next year this time it'll be all over. And it's kind of weird to be here now. It seems like everything I went through happened very quickly, although at the time it was happening very slow, I remember. So congratulations to me for making it through to 1 year. And I definitely do not regret anything I went through. I don't regret my decision. I don't regret any of the surgeries. I don't regret having to have the ostomy bag. None of it. I am in a very good place right now. And I'll catch you up to date on that right now. Basically, I'm still going anywhere from, I would say, 5 to 7 times in a 24-hour period, 6 to 8. It really does vary on how much you eat, when you're eating. The more regulated I am with my eating, the more regulated I am with going to the bathroom, which seems to make sense. So on days when I'm working, when things are more regimented, I tend to go less. But on days when I'm not working and I'm kind of snacking and things throughout the day, I may go a little bit more. I may go once or twice more if I'm eating a lot of fresh fruit, pears, apples, cantaloupe, things like that. I also have noticed, and I mentioned this before, I tend to go more if I eat a lot of sugar, just a lot of sugary items throughout the day. If I have a lot of caffeine, whether it's in pop, which I don't drink very often, or even iced tea. I was on an iced tea kick for a while. I noticed my frequency went up. Along with that, chocolate, and again, that could be the sugar, which is difficult because I am a sugar freak. I think my entire mouth is full of sweet teeth. So I'm really learning how to adjust that. But I have found everything in moderation. If I have 1 glass of iced tea in a day with caffeine in it, it's not that big a deal. I'm not a coffee drinker, so that isn't an issue. I try to limit the fruit I'm having. I don't eat a ton of it. Vegetables don't seem to bother me. I'm not a huge vegetable eater. I mean, I don't eat like 6 servings a day of vegetables, but I do like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, carrots. Usually I steam my carrots just because I like them better that way than eating them raw. And I don't tend to notice any issues with the vegetables. The broccoli, cauliflower can give a little bit more gas, and if I'm very gassy, that will increase my frequency a little bit. Gas-X doesn't really seem to help much, I don't find. I've basically stayed away from beans, garlic, onions. Those things kind of caused me issues before. Although I do like hummus, I try to limit that because of the beans in there, and there's sometimes garlic in there that can cause some increased gas. But basically I would say probably on average it's 6 times a day. Again, that's in a 24-hour period. My daytimes feel pretty normal. I don't have any issues at all during the day. I get up in the morning, I go to the bathroom. Sometimes I go before I leave for work, only because I want to sometimes, not because I have to. Then I'm not bothered until lunchtime, which is 11:30, 12:30. Sometimes before I leave work at 3:30, 4, I'll go. If not, I'll go right when I get home. And then I tend to go a little bit more like between 6 and 10. And again, I think the morning is slower because there's nothing in my system from all night, and then as I start to eat more during the day, frequency starts to increase a little bit. 2 of my times I still am going at least 2 times a night. Nights overall, I'm still having issues at nighttime with loss of stool. Overall though, things are continuing to improve. It's still very, very, instead of flat, it's probably like this. It's very, very slow, but I do notice an improvement. I would say before I was having more days where I was having large loss of stool and a big mess that I had to clean up. Not so much it got in the sheets, but just that you had to clean your backside at night before you felt comfortable putting on either underwear with a liner or depends on before you went back to bed. Now I would say I have more often than not very minimal leakage. Occasionally I'll have none, but more minimal. The times of having a larger loss of stool tend to be very infrequent now. Part of it could be time, that the resting tone of the sphincter muscle is improving, which I hope that's what it is. Part of it is also because usually I try to be done eating by 7 at the latest. I'll still drink a little bit after that, but I have found if I eat a large amount of anything or drink a lot after 7 o'clock, I tend to have more issues, not all the time. I've also found if I have like ice cream at night, I will have issues with increased loss of stool. I don't think I'm lactose intolerant. I do eat a lot of cheese, but I have noticed that, like I said, with ice cream or milkshake, so I try not to do those in the evening time. Related to the nighttime, I wanted to tell you, I did go and see my GI last week, which I haven't seen my GI in over a year because I haven't needed to. And then I also saw my my Jpouch nurse. So let me tell you a little bit about that. I met with my GI. It was kind of weird to see him after so long. And he was a little bit concerned about the loss of stool at night. And I feel like he sort of was leaping into thinking, oh, we should probably do a scope of your pouch because maybe there's pouchitis going on. And if there is, we want to put you on antibiotics and everything. And I was explaining to him, well, I've never had pouchitis, knock on wood, hopefully I never will. I don't know what exactly it feels like, but I don't feel like it's pouchitis based on what I've heard. If you have pouchitis, I've heard you can have symptoms of colitis, increased frequency, more urgency, more watery stool, sometimes bleeding, those sorts of things. Some people have heard you can sort of almost get a fever because it is an inflammation, but I don't know that that's the case in all cases. But for me, I don't feel like I'm having any of those symptoms. I'm not having an increase in frequency, no urgency. My stools are basically formed more often than not. Very rarely do I have a completely watery stool. And my thought process is, anytime you do a scope and you introduce a foreign object into that closed pouch area, I feel like you're increasing the risk of introducing a foreign body where you could start to have some inflammation after. I haven't seen research out there. The doctors swear, no, that wouldn't happen, it's not true. But in my head, it makes sense. Just like a surgery, there's always risk with infection for surgery, no matter how sterile it is. So I opted to not have a scope, but I talked with him. I said, if you think there's a medical reason, I want to do it, but if you're just wondering, I'd rather not do it. And he was fine with that, so he just put the order in the computer for down the road. If I feel like I want to have one done in a month or so, or a couple months, the order's in the computer. So that was good. Otherwise, I follow up with him, I think in 6 months. And basically, he's going to follow me for my liver disease, the PSC, as well as my pouch. Because I think they will do scopes maybe once a year, every couple years, just to check things out. And so I also met with my pouch nurse, talked with her mainly about the loss of stool at night, told her I was still concerned about it, although I'm trying to just roll with it because it's only been, by the time I saw her, it was like 5.5 months. And she said she is not concerned at all about it. She said, I am noticing a general trend in the upward direction. And she said 5 to 6 months is still very fresh for a Jpouch. This is not necessarily where I'm going to be topping out at as far as my function with my Jpouch. So she's not concerned about it at all. She did relay one story. She said she had one gentleman who had large amounts of loss of stool for up to a year, and then at some point after the 1 year mark, it just all of a sudden stopped. I don't know, but I'm just planning that things are going to improve and dealing with it. It is a little frustrating at times. Right now I'm getting ready to fly out west and go boating and jet skiing and water skiing for like 5 days. So I'm going to be staying in someone's house. I brought, of course, my Depends. A little bit concerned, about the bedding and stuff, although I haven't had any issues in my bed or sheets at all. Everything's always contained, but it's in the back of your mind. So anyways, those are both good visits. But one of the things my Jpouch nurse suggested, and she had gotten a sample from, I'm going to show you, it's these little butterfly pads, and I don't know if they're real cottony and soft, and basically what you do is you fold them in half, and then this side you stick in between your butt cheeks before you go to bed. And basically what they're meant to do is absorb any leakage you have. Now, they're meant just for light fecal incontinence, more if you're having like a little bit of loss of liquid or watery output. Although what I found is that even if I do have a little bit larger loss of stool, this tends to trap it a little bit so it doesn't kind of get all over everything. And unless I'm in a really deep sleep and don't get up for like 3 or 4 hours, usually this helps keep things a little bit less messy for me. And it's also absorbent, so it does try to keep some of that output away from your skin, because that output is still very acidic. I've noticed that if I'm in a deep sleep, like for 4 hours, and the stool has been sitting in there, I do get a little bit of skin breakdown, and I'm still having to use the Chemoseptine for that. So I have found these little absorbent pads to be very helpful. It's called Be Sure. I'm going to get the box here. This is kind of what the top of the box looks like. You can look it up online. They're not really cheap. I think a box of 24 of these cost, I think, $6. And then of course shipping and handling. She gave me some samples, and then I bought one box to try. So next time I may buy a few more. I haven't seen them at my pharmacy. So also at night, I'm pretty much consistently taking one Imodium. I know before I talked about Imodium and it didn't seem to be helping, but now it does seem to be helping. So that's again where I'm saying I think things are continuing to improve, along with me watching what I eat, when I stop eating, the Imodium, all those things are helping. I'm only taking one though. And I may this weekend, when I'm leaving today, like I said, to go out west, I'm probably going to play with the Imodium a little more for the days like when I'm out on the boat and away from a bathroom for probably 6 to 8 hours. Not sure how that's all going to go. I'm going to take supplies with me in case I need to use nature somewhere. But I'm not anticipating too many issues, because the good thing is with the Jpouch, you can hold it. It's not that feeling when you have colitis that, oh my god, I have to go right now. It gets a little uncomfortable maybe if you've been holding it for a long time, and it makes you a little gassy, but that's it. So I'm not too concerned about it. Related to gas, I haven't really been able to pass gas without sitting on the toilet, as I had said before. Although there's been once or twice, if I'm laying in bed, like watching TV on my back, and I'm really gassy, just playing with control of the sphincter muscles, trying not to relax them too much to let out anything but air. So I have had some success with that. It sounds weird that you're having to figure out how to try and fart and not let anything else come out, but I really hope I can get back to that, because sometimes I am gassy and it's kind of a pain to have to run to the bathroom every time. So that's where that is. One other thing, I was asked to do a research study for pouchitis. I go to University of Chicago, they're a large research institution, and they wanted to look at why people get pouchitis, so they wanted me to do this research study. I think you had to go in for 4 scopes a year of your pouch, and you also got paid $250 per time that you went in, so it was like $1,000 a year, and I think it was a 2-year study, I can't remember. And I was going to do it because I'm very much into research. I think research needs to be done in order for us to figure out what's the cause, how do we fix it, why do certain people get it, why do certain people not get it, those sorts of things. But the more I kept thinking about it, I go back to the rationale I used when I met with my GI about doing a scope just to monitor and see if there was pouchitis going on. I feel like the more often you increase a foreign body into that area, you do increase your risk of developing inflammation. So I opted to not do the research study. Again, that could be crazy what I'm thinking. I called to check with the nurses before I decided that. They were like, oh no, it's fine, having scopes does not increase your risk of pouchitis, but in my head it could. So I'm just things are doing okay for me, and I'm just gonna leave well enough alone as far as that goes. As far as supplements I'm still taking, I still take my vitamin D3, my fish oil, my VSL number 3, which is a probiotic, take that every day, and then also a multivitamin. Especially for the PSC, the research has been showing that fish oil and vitamin D are very good for that. So not only just in general, but because I have the PSC, I'm taking that also. I did just go this past week, yesterday as a matter of fact, down to the university to have the MRI of my liver. I have that annually done to monitor my PSC, my liver disease. And it's just, the MRI is fine, it's just a test. So I had that done yesterday, but then I meet with my hepatologist on October 1st to discuss the results from the MRI. So hopefully that's going to be okay. I'm not having any issues with that. I did just have blood work drawn. All my liver enzymes are still stable. All the levels that they look at are still really good. So I meet with my Jpouch nurse then too, again, just because I'm going to happen to be down there. So here's to hope that everything's okay with the PSC. And just FYI, on the YouTube channel, thanks to all of you, I did just pass 16,000 views. Again, it's not 1 million or 2 million, but 16,000 views in a year I think is pretty significant. Again, not that it's a contest, but it just lets me know people are out there and watching the videos. And I do still communicate with many people, still get questions and new people asking, wondering because they're thinking about having it done, that sort of thing. And it's really interesting. I didn't realize how involved I would be with some of these people I've chatted with around the world, literally, that are having this done or undergoing this, and all the different stories people have, because not everyone is following the same exact path. One gentleman in England had his colon removed and was probably going to go for the Jpouch, and then found out that all the medication he had been on his entire life for ulcerative colitis, found out he'd never really had colitis. He obviously had something going on, but he was taking all these medications for colitis that caused problems with his liver, and he did eventually have his colon removed. But he may not have to go for the Jpouch because his options are different because he didn't have colitis. So that's just one example of how crazy this whole digestive system issue can be. I think the last thing is that I'm going to show you my scar and how things are healing with that. Just aside, I'm back to the gym. I've been to the gym for a while now, but I'm probably back 5 to 6 times a week. As I said before, I'm lifting more weight than I have before at the gym, so I would say at 41 years old, I am probably in the best shape I've been in my entire life. I've noticed my skin issues have all cleared up since I've been off the prednisone, off the Remicade, and it's really nice to be sitting here a year later and have the colon gone, the ostomy bag's gone, the surgery's gone, the medication's gone, the urgency gone, the pain gone, the uncertainty of the whole bathrooming thing. I may be going more often, but it's much more on my own terms. I feel like I'm in control of my body again and not the disease being in control. So it's a really, really good place to be. As always, if you do have any questions, you can hit me up at ucandpsc@gmail.com, and I'll just show you my scar real quick. I have to adjust the camera here. And so this is the incision I had at surgery number 2. This is the stoma or ostomy incision. So this is the newest one because this one was closed in April. This one was done in January. So I used that ScarAway adhesive scar minimizer application for 8 weeks, and then I haven't used anything since. So I think you can kind of get an idea, though. I'm pretty impressed with it. I mean, obviously there's still scars showing, but it's much less noticeable than I thought it would be. Of course, this weekend when I go, I'm going to be out in the sun, so I'll be putting a heavy SPF over that, especially I'd heard because the scar tissue can burn easily, so we'll be doing that. Other than that, I think I've caught you up on everything. I'll probably make another update after I meet with my liver doctor on October 1st. That's probably going to be more related to the PSC than the Jpouch. But this channel is basically about both, and I feel like I've dealt with the colitis part of it and the ostomy and the Jpouch, and hopefully that's almost settled. And now it's just going to be monitoring the liver disease. So take care. I hope you're all enjoying the end of summer, beginning of fall, and we will chat soon. Bye-bye.